If you knew who was really behind Bitcoin, you would run as fast as you fucking could to sell it. I know. 100%. If you knew who owned Bitcoin or who started Bitcoin, and you had Bitcoin, you couldn't sleep at night. I know. 100%. And when the real founder of Bitcoin comes out, it is my humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me, Bitcoin will go to fucking zero.
One day.
And a microsecond, whoop, like that.
Coffee time with Berserker and Uncle Buster. Doors open. Good to see you. You know where the coffee pot is.
This is Berserker.
Yo, this is Uncle Buster. Get a cup. Let's talk crypto.
Yeah, dude. This coffee's bomb.
Nothing comes between me and my XRP. All in.
Yo. It helps if we add us to the stage. What up? Celebrity champion. Gonna defend my title next week on Extra Bullish. Let's fucking go.
I got a question. How the hell did you retain all that information, man? That's like years of retainment and can cognizantly pull it back out.
I think it's just because I've been in longer than you guys, man. That's what it comes down. Because even the Billy one I knew, man. The Billy one I knew. And I was thinking of words. That's why I said don't be a dumbass. Once he said Billy, I was like, oh shit, that's old school info right there.
What's up, Rich Jack? What's up, bitches?
It's hella funny. Yeah, that was good, man. I had fun.
We got the crypto duck. We got the rich duck.
You know, you trying to have a serious conversation. The dude show with a duck head on kind of messes you up a little bit. Well, let's get into it, Ducky. We see you drop some seeds on us, or poops, or coins. I love them coins. I'm gonna call them coins. You dropped some rich duck coins over the past couple of days to us. And what are you gonna say about that?
RDCs, baby.
Yeah, man.
RDCs, man.
Let's go.
Yeah, for y'all who don't have them, I keep telling you to get these rich ducks. But you know what? I wanted to ask you, Mr. Duck, that when all the rich ducks have been minted, are you still going to keep dropping coins? And then what else can we do with those coins at the time?
Pretty much as soon as the ducks it's pretty much on time for the ducks to get minted. Pretty much the staking rewards might be the last drops as well. So, because there's about 12 months left of airdrops.
Oh, snap!
It might interconnect at the same time. So, but right now I'm building some bots and stuff for RDC. I got the image generator bot that you can use in Discord right now, and I'm gonna be trying to add some RDC functionality to it, so you'll get a certain amount of free generations, and then you'll be able to buy some more generations with your RDC. And got some other stuff that I'm working on, but yeah, man. As far as going forward, just you're gonna want to have your rich ducks, because once they're all minted up, we're gonna pretty much go into the next phase of stuff. Nice. And hopefully we get a nice pop too, so it all mix in well together.
Ooh,
nice.
Because you got your rich ducks, and then you got the rich duck coins. and there's people out there minting $300, 300 a week. He said, is it 3 or 30 a week? Or
Probably
30
like 25, 30 each airdrop.
Damn. Thought I was doing something about minting 3. I thought I was balling. I'm out of control. I'm minting out of the block. You know.
I also minted a couple extra for the Rich Duck Vault for later down the line, so we can still give away some NFTs and stuff like that.
Ooh.
Hell yeah.
But after they're all done minted, you'll only be able to get them on the secondary market.
Yeah, I wonder if I should start attacking the secondary. I wonder if I should attack the secondary market quicker than later.
Hey, man.
Well, if you see it drop, then yeah, I would attack it. But if it's still around 20, then I would just mint them. But if it drops to like 10, then I would eat those up quick.
Yeah. Could I ask a question? I don't know what the peanut squirrel thing's about, bro. What the hell is this thing?
Bro, these
Like,
like, dude.
Oh, it has to do with Trump? I've just seen it all day today. I'm like, I don't even know what the peanut and the squirrel's about.
The squirrel is the tipping point. The squirrel shows that the Democrats are evil as hell and they don't care about anybody but themselves, and they're willing to even kill a squirrel to be totalitarian and authoritarian. It is proof that they are commies. The squirrel proved it. The squirrel saved everything. The squirrel saved America. Let's go.
Telling you, it's y'all future.
Chris has issues. 350 bomb. He just saved some shit right there. Dude, that's crazy, Chris. Appreciate you, brother. 350 bomb for Chris has issues. Damn. Show's over.
That's a nuke.
Outro.
You just got nuked.
That's a nuke, man. Yeah. I should have dropped the nuke symbol instead of a bomb.
So we got the election Tuesday. Do y'all think it's going to be called Tuesday night?
Mm-hmm. Well, Trump said he had a slip of the tongue, and he said that election would be January 5th, and January 5th is like the old constitutional election. So, and then Gene Ho and Trump are both putting out posts and information about what if Kamala steals it. So I think the stealing of it is all part of it, because they have to. Because also Trump said in the beginning, he said if anyone steals the election or interferes in the election, we're watching everything, and you'll go to jail. So I think this is all part of it, to be honest. Where it's they probably steal it,
again,
probably do
bro.
something.
Like,
and then,
do we need to steal it again? They already. You know.
Well, the thing is that the first one, the reason why nothing happened with it is because everyone was blind. Everyone didn't really think of anything, and no one really knew that. None of the court hearings were heard. No one knew about any of that. They just believed what the media was saying. But this time around, the media has lost all truth and all reliability. So it's like people are starting to question. So this time around, if something happened, it would be so obvious that it would make a noise. And then Elon even said if something happened, then this time around, X wouldn't they wouldn't block anything. And it said if anything happened, to like show as much proof as you can, and we'll blast it out. So I think that, and if you think about it, it's kind of in a way of like bringing people together too, because it's like, you know, everyone's gonna be posting stuff like crazy, and it's be undeniable, and then, you know, we'll see what happens. But it's interesting.
Well, I think this is interesting only because this is the first time in American history we have somebody talking about removing fluoride from the water.
Right. And
he
said,
no one called him a communist for it. You commie, you're going to remove something Europe has banned for the last 20 years in their water because it messes up your brains. You want to ban that? I want to be stupid.
And then, you know,
and the toothpaste too. Warning on the back everywhere. And everything.
They can get rid of GMOs and all that stuff. So RFK saying all this stuff, and he said that they're going to do all this stuff January 20th. He said as soon as Trump comes in. So it's kind of like they already know. Like it's kind of like I would assume that they already see stealing going on. They already see interference going on, to the point where it's kind of like, you know, null and void. Like Trump already won kind of ordeal. So now people are coming out with confidence.
Shout out to EFIT, man. Welcome. I haven't seen that name before. The scariest time will be between November 5th to January 20th, 25. Welcome, EFIT. Yeah, man. It's
and also the other thing. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. That shit was bullish as fuck. What you guys? I don't know if you guys heard what Trump said. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. He said there'll be 4 more. He said we have to go through this week, and then after Monday there'll be 4 more things. And he said after that we'll never go through this ever again. He said this will be the last time we'll ever go through this. So that's what I'm saying. With back to the point of stealing election stuff, I think this would be the last time we'll ever have to go through this. I don't think we're gonna go through another 4-year ordeal like we did before.
No,
I think
we don't have
it. Because he's already saying like this is the end. So
and they fooled me during the Corona crap. They fooled me then, man. I thought it was going down in that moment of time. But
so hold on.
And that's why even people on the real quick, even people on the thinking we're gonna go through another full cycle of crypto, like that's just crazy to me. Like I don't think there's no chance we go through another start over. Let's say we do go through, we're going into utility, bro, pretty soon.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
So I think they want you to feel that, like, emotionally. Yeah, it feels, I mean, who doesn't get tired of waiting, man? You know what's coming. It's just like a kid at the candy store. But it's an investor. What is it? Investor fatigue is the term, and they're wearing you out, man. Like, even
right here,
I was messing around with YouTube and Jungle's talking about XRP again. I'm like, dude, just figure out what you want to do, man. You either he's hating one day, and Jungle is like old school, man. Like Jungle got me hyped up, back in the day.
Same here. I give the story that's when I jumped in to start making videos, because he was like, the only thing left to do now is spread the word.
Yeah, and even that one video with the porcupine. What sucks is all his videos gone, because I would like to just go back and watch that again. But
Cobb did that too. He deleted most of his shit too.
Why do you think they deleted their videos?
I don't know, man. That's history right there.
I think a lot of
I mean, if you got some strikes, and then once they start going back to your history, and then they could strike you up pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you don't have strikes, I don't see why you would delete it.
I got a strike one time for putting up a Ripple Swell video.
I'll be right back.
But it was one of those ones where they like had it where during COVID when it was only in virtual and stuff, so they didn't want none of those videos out. But yeah, they got me.
You did it anyway. You already know. Especially during COVID, you got to post all you can. All people did was watch TV all day and eat and drink.
I'm gonna go ahead and put the link in the chat, man. We're gonna drop the baby gate.
All right, hold on. Before you do that, let me share
some
this
breaking news
video real quick. Yeah, bro. I think this was really crazy because the way how Trump said this shit, he said it with so much fucking confidence, bro. And when people say shit like with confidence, and you have to pay attention to this guy. If you don't pay attention to the things that he says and how he says it, you're not fucking. You really have to pay attention. All right, listen to this. Ready? Turn it up. Hold on. Can you guys hear it?
Yeah.
No sound.
No. Oh no, my bad. I don't know why I said yeah.
You were psychically hearing it.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do, because I really guys wanted to hear this, I'm gonna put the captions on, and let's see if it plays the captions.
Drop the link. I'll run it for you.
Or push up your music button. If you got a music thing on your mixer, push the music up.
No, I'm gonna send it to Baggy. Baggy's gonna do it because it can't fucking be fucked trying to fuck with this. All right, there you go, Baggy. I sent it to you. Yeah. So basically, he said he's gonna shut it all down. He said we just go through this, and then it's a wrap. We never go through the shit ever again. That's bullish. That's stupid bullish. And then he talks about the tariff, bro. 2025 is gonna be spectacular.
Shout out to eFit, man. I think you found your channel, bro. I don't know if you just started commenting or you've been watching, but when I said I wasn't fooled like on the face diaper shit, I don't wear a mask, but I mean I was fooled like I felt like the system was about to be implemented during that time. You know, so I was 4 years too early, But you just get more time to stack. But that's what I meant by the 2020.
Yeah, that's that.
So I have 3 big ones tomorrow, and then I have 4 big ones on Monday, and then we shut it down. Never to happen again. But
What's wrong with that?
so I have
Boom.
3.
13 seconds.
Bro, never to happen again. That's crazy, right? So and then the fraudulent the slip of the tongue of January 5th. So and if things are moving to Nevada, you already know things already went down. So I'm excited, to be honest. Finally, fucking hell.
I remember I watched the time traveler video. Have you ever watched that shit on YouTube? Like,
I watched all that
like,
shit.
yeah, man. I came back from like 20. He was like 2060 something. He's all but he's all back in the day. All the countries teamed up and just eliminated corruption. And he's all, I would just tell y'all to buy cryptocurrency. Like this is a time traveler video, bro. I watched that like 2019. I'm like, man, that's just crazy to me.
It is crazy. Do you guys see the video? I don't know if you guys are following me on X or anything, but I shared the video how there's a church. There was an old school church that had Trump's face on it, bro, and it's like 200 something odd years old, and it has his face on it. Explain that shit. I would love for people to explain this shit to me because it makes no fucking sense. Let me see if I can find it. It's absolutely insane.
But even when Bags, what was the number like when you put in $1 billion XRP? If it was a run Swift, it was like 40 something thousand, right?
Yeah, I can pull it back up real quick.
It was crazy, man. But yeah, I think the ramp up's coming, bro. Like if you think about here, let me drop the link real quick. The link is in the chat. Baby gates are officially down. 184 watching.
Right here.
Well, if you think how big it is, it's supposed to go down like this. It's not just gonna overnight. They're gonna drag you through the water until it's time, last second.
Exactly.
I think it's gonna go down a little bit more just to get people out.
Hey, Maggie, say this real quick. Sorry, Fuma. Go ahead.
I think it's gonna go down and more people will get shook out. I think the last shakeout is at 33 cents, around 33 cents.
I don't think so, man. I think it's opposite. I think the last shakeout is green market.
I think it's gonna go down.
They already shook. They've already been shaken out in the red market for 7 years.
It's more.
So,
yeah.
More.
This church has an image of Donald Trump on it.
Check this out, guys.
From
it's
the
wild.
15th century. The parts of the church is called St. Bart's to Less. It's part of the famous hospital of St. Bartholomew, founded in 1123. But if you go around the corner to the garden here and look up at some of the images on the roof, you will see a certain former American president and potentially someone who's going to be one next week. So no, that's not Donald Trump here, nor is this one as well. But if you go here and look up at this gentleman here, look really closely.
Yeah, see that? Isn't that crazy? Bro, explain that shit.
No other than the Donald himself. And yet this is some 250 years old. How did they know? By the way, we have another tyrannical former leader of this country, known as the Stalin of Britain. No connection to Mr. Trump, of course. On the outside of the church over here as well. Look up here, and it's the only public sculpture of this man in London. Look up here. This is King Henry VIII. He dissolved all the churches and the monasteries in the 1530s, whatever. But he did save this hospital from destruction back then, which is why they immortalized him now as well. But like I said, we've got Donald Trump up here. Believe it or not, this is him.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
But hey,
there's also that book, right?
Well, check this out.
The 1800s with Baron Trump or whatever.
Yeah. Baron the Time Traveler, right? Yeah. But check this out. It gets even crazier because remember that video. There's the reason why I'm showing this video. Now, Trump posted something. Look, He said, wishing everybody a blessed and happy All Saints Day, bro. This is wild. This is on the 1st. Explain that. That's what I'm saying. This is much bigger than people understand, bro.
Even when he lost, he was so. I remember when he lost on 2020, and then he was like golfing the next day, and the dude was so calm. You're like, man, he's not even worried about shit.
Chilling. Straight chilling, bro. Straight chilling.
Because I was sort of pissed. I mean, that's what I was just done with television at that point, you know. And I never went back. Like, but that when I saw him golf, I'm like, you couldn't be that relaxed, man. Like, it's not. We all know he has money, but
yeah,
it was more than being relaxed. Like, there's nothing up in the air when you look at that guy. It's already all figured out, you know.
He was mob boss relax. You know when things are being handled before they already happened, and you already know the whole game. That's how relaxed he was. Like, he knows.
Here's that calculator. They got the circulating supply set at 60 billion by default.
Okay, so that's already all right. So right now,
that's kind of already wrong.
It's like escrow, it's wrong as hell because escrow is 45 billion. There's only 55 billion circulating, but we own like 30 billion of that. So if you just drop that number to 20 billion and then do 3%.
3% of Swift?
Yeah.
What's that, like 300 billion, 500 billion?
Probably 500.
Yeah, 500 billion.
Yeah, 1200.
1200.
Fuma, are you familiar with the whole ratio game?
Nope.
Man, so we had a conversation, Buster and the other guy, we had a conversation, and Buster brought up a really good point of if Bitcoin went to 100K, but if
let's go no, hold on real quick. Let's go. Let me do a share screen real quick. Actually, I don't need to do a share screen. I just need to get on XRP here. What's the price of Bitcoin, Nerdy, right now?
Right now it's 68.48.
So 68,000, 68,480.
Yeah.
Right now, one
yeah.
one Bitcoin is 136,000 XRP. But this goes with sort of like when I say ramp up. This is how I vision a ramp up and using and taking away the power, right? Because right now, if you could get 136,000 Bitcoin, I mean, that's a lot of XRP, right? So if I give Bitcoiners 120, let's say to make it easy, if I give them $136,000 Bitcoin, they're going to be up in here talking hella shit, right? And let's say if XRP was $12 and Bitcoin was 136, right now that's now like down to 12,000 XRP per one Bitcoin, right? And let's say RLUSD is released, and that what takes us to 12 or even $25. Because if you go $136,000 Bitcoin to a $25 XRP, you're like 6,000 XRP to one Bitcoin, and right now it's down near 140,000, right? And then let's say RLUSD is what really cranks up an XRP run, right? So they had all that opportunity to cash in for some XRP, and now we got it down to 6,000 XRP for one Bitcoin, and then they fuck with Tether, right? And their stable coins already in place. The ramp up's coming.
Yeah,
the ramp up is coming. Like, and then right now, you know, at what point you get some Bitcoin, you know, because now if Bitcoin goes and then it fucking does something different, now we broke the whole cycle of crypto. Right.
Are people following along what Buster's talking about? Like, this is genius. Like, this actually, like, this literally makes sense, right? It's the fact that right now the ratio is so wide, right? Like you'll get more XRP today than Bitcoin, right? But as the price of ZERPs goes up because of adoption, right, and because of all the clarity and stuff, and Chris is also saying that a ZERP should be regulated under the CFTC rather than the SEC because it's a currency, and then you have all the RL stuff, right? So you already, and then it goes back to the what we talked about last week, where about scarcity. Okay, so you have scarcity because there's barely any left, right? With the all the numbers are all messed up, and there's like 20% own like 30 million or something like that. So there's already a separation. On top of that, you have if Bitcoin goes to 100K, but if ZERPs go to 20K, the ratio becomes smaller. The percentage of gain between 60,000 from going to a $30,000 gain from 70K to 100K versus from 50 cents to $20. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna make more of a more gain off that ZERP percentage rather than the Bitcoin percentage, and the ratio will get close. Will get smaller and smaller.
Also, even okay, so let's just, for example, take $125,000 Bitcoin because it's easy to do the math. You could just you know, a lot of people don't think XRP could be $25, but if I go back to 2018, the question you missed, Nerdy and Jeopardy. But if I go back to 2018 and you take a $20,000 Bitcoin, XRP was $4, right? And then you times $20,000 Bitcoin by 5 and you get the $125,000 Bitcoin, right? That justifies easily a $20 XRP without any utility. You said utility, Nerdy. No, with zero utility, right? The evidence in what's already happened supports it. You don't, you know, people think it can't go to $20 without utility. You're fucking crazy, bro. When utility hits, we're going astronomical numbers. But at that point, it's $5,000, 5,000 XRP for one Bitcoin if it was 120, and right now it's 140,000.
Yeah,
and
you can get it. So you can get 5,000. You can get 100,000 ZERPs today, or after everything, you'll only get 5,000.
It's gonna get less though. Because when so here's the point. Here's the point of how a complete flipping happens. You make both sides happy. You give Bitcoiners 125K. You give XRP $25, right? But then you shake up Tether, right? And then, I mean, now Bitcoin's going to be moving outside of the charts of, you know, outside of the history. It's going to be doing something different. And yeah, we're about to roll into whatever's about to happen. We're going to go spec into a utility based world. And that's just where we're at. Whether it's, I don't believe we're going utility. That's why I always said ramp up. And Tyron Copeland just did a comment not too long ago. This is what, and even Fuma said one more shake. I think the shakeout is right here. It's a $5 to $20 XRP. That's the final shakeout because now billions become available. Coinbase will work because institutions will be behind Coinbase, providing the liquidity to scoop up. You know what I'm saying? Watch Coinbase uphold everything will always work this time in the bull run, and that's how bad they want these coins back.
The shakeout started right after 2018. Ever since then,
exactly. They've got everything out of, you know. We could do a quick dip one more time. But they've done. The next shakeout is the green market. Is people
on top of that, the Bitcoin dominance each cycle continues to drop lower and lower. That means other coins are taking away that dominance.
And then also exchanges will do this thing where you can sell it to them, but you can't buy it from them. And we've seen that happen.
But even, okay, so then the average thought though, like people will be like, well, that's just going to bring new people in. Yeah. But new money is not going to match the money exiting. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Exactly.
And, you know, people don't understand how exchange works. Like, oh, well, there has to be a buyer and a seller. Well, that's why Coinbase charges you more fees, because there doesn't have to be a seller. They're honoring the fact they're going to give you the money now without a seller, right? A full exchange, you need a buyer and a seller on a full exchange. You need that order to match, right?
Also, all those institutions might throw their XRP into that Ripple custody to earn yield, so that's more XRP off the market.
Exactly. And I think that's why Uphold is so bullish, bro. Because isn't Uphold a custody in some sort?
Oh, for sure.
There you go. And then Larry was talking about. Larry said that he doesn't care about what happens with crypto because he's not a custody. So he doesn't care. He couldn't care what happens to the coin or anything like that. Because his business, if he wanted to do something, he would just custody, meaning he would just do business with either Ripple or Uphold directly, and then or Matako or what Medico, whatever, and then that way he has less liability. Which makes sense.
You know, and that's why. Yeah, I would like flip switch, right? So, but I'm also, I think right now, if I could tell, my messages is ramp up. And stack your XRP. That's all I've been saying, you know, for a few years. But when I say ramp up, that's in my head, what I'm thinking in my head, like exactly how the ramp. And then we're not talking about what if Bitcoiners get scared. You shake up Tether, and now you got Bitcoiners. Where Bitcoiners going to go?
Exactly.
Tell me they ain't going to say it. You come to XRP, folks, right?
And if they're going to cash out, they only have a few options. Either you put it in a circle or you put it in an RL, or if you're going to cash out, you'll take the fee and you put it in cash and a fiat. But either way, once it starts dropping, it's going to go. And that's because of Tether, right? That's because of all the regulation coming through there. And also you have all the other stuff that's going on with China and Taiwan with the whole chip stuff. So we'll see what happens, man. But it's just getting interesting.
2025 looking like it's going to be the year to at least a pop.
Yeah, I think the stable coins, the RL, will have a big impact on everything.
Shout out 192 watching. Appreciate it. I just dropped the gate again. If you want to join, this is a live community chat.
The SMC has the January 15th.
And back, you did the thing where it said the yearly burn. How much did we burn this year? I think it was like a high, right? It was like 3 million or something like that.
Q3 we burned 600,000 XRP.
600,000 gone. That's what I'm saying. So, and
that's for no utility, no nothing.
No nothing. So it's gonna keep getting like. That's why the pull post about going up and never stop. Again, it's scarcity. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's the scarcity and then the supply and demand, which pushes everything up. But it's literally, yeah. Go ahead,
Richard Gilliam. What do you think about the buyback? See, that's where I think
it's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, down the line, I don't even see a buyback, but.
Buyback's already happening since 2018, keeping the prices low with time.
That's a fact.
Keeping the prices low.
That's a fact.
But a natural buyback would be show the people the money, and they're going to willingly give up their coins, and I'm going to buy them back. So the counterbalance to that argument is, why don't they buy them now? There's only maybe 1 billion available. You shoot this thing to $10, and now there's 20 billion available.
They can't buy them all now, technically, because half of it's locked up in escrow.
Exactly.
And then the other percentage is locked up with us. So how are they going to get it all?
Yeah, but I think the whole buyback thing.
But you have people in their head thinking like, Ripple's literally taking from the escrow, selling them to make money. You're like, I mean, it's so elementary, like the thought behind that. Where I think escrow was designed so no whales come through here and grab shit up. So when I first got into Ripple, it was the Bitcoiners, you know, that's the banker's coin. Yeah, motherfucker, but now you're excited about ETFs and shit. You don't like banks. What the fuck happened to that? Right? Now Bitcoiners are excited about banks, right? But to me, they protected the main supply from the gate, and that's why it's the one. And that's what separates it from even XLM, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then XLM's pretty smooth too, though, because XLM burned half, you know, and we don't know.
Yeah.
Do we know it's gone, or did they protect half by doing the burn? You know, so
they protected those chains too, because those are the ones that they could control, and those are the ones that China was eating up most of the fees on ETH and Bitcoin.
Yeah, and even in the most recent Treasury report, the Treasury shines light on Bitcoin and Ethereum. It says they're too volatile and too risky. And then I'll keep bringing it up. The 100% haircut issued by the DTCC, basically saying that Bitcoin is too volatile and it's not to be used as an investment or as a product to offer to clients because it's too volatile. So all the evidence is there, guys. Like literally all the evidence is there that they're just gonna just rug motherfuckers so hard, so fucking hard. It's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it's, you know, and that's also like a lot of thoughts, because I've thought about this shit like for a long time, many years. But you know, if I say $50, people throw out the hopium, right? But I've understood how this thing could go up a long time ago. But yeah, and also what separates a lot of the mentality is this. If I talk to an XRP holder, I'm gonna know, the first thing I need to know is do they believe in flip the switch, or they believe on how it's been, right? So we got Alchemist, BTC won. Yes, BTC's winning because this is how it is. And I'm betting on it ain't staying like this. And I'm happy with that, right? So it's just but that's what separates the first mindsets. People are waiting for $3, $4, $5. Our next move is way bigger than that.
I agree.
Right. And but yeah, you know, you talk to people that don't like crypto and they're betting on it staying how it is. We all know it's not staying how it is. You know, there's people in stocks. Like, I would not be fucking with stocks right now, personally, unless it was like, and the stocks that people are fucking with are related to crypto.
Yeah.
You know, it's all around crypto right now. Why are those stocks hot? Right.
Yeah.
So
I'm telling 2025 stablecoins, going to set off the tokenization train. And all of a sudden you can see there was this lady, she was talking, I think she was from Ripple, and she was saying how before the banks they didn't really want anything to do with us. Like we would tell them about, you know, just trying to save money and do all these things. But now with stable coins coming around, they're not calling them back and trying to figure out how to use them for their services and this and that. So, you know, it's happening. It's happening fast. And, the other thing was Brad saying in his interview that he doesn't really care about the price. Like the price doesn't matter because of how fast it happens. So even with that being said, if you really look at what he's trying to say, he's basically trying to say too that like whether the price goes up or the price goes down, they'll keep doing this because it's so fast. But he's not saying that it's gonna go away because his business depends on it. If his business depend on it and it was going down, then he wouldn't use it. You get what I'm saying? So he's basically saying that it's limitless. It can go up to whatever it can, and it doesn't really matter to us. We'll keep doing what we're doing. But in a way, he's basically saying that it's scarcity. You know, like in a subliminal message, he's basically telling you it's scarcity. So it's crazy.
You can't make it up.
Can't make it up. And then Codius makes a comeback all of a sudden during the ending of the case and all this. Come on.
He's basically saying too that they're manipulating the price, and he said it twice already. Once in this recent quarterly report, and then the first time he said it, he was like, well, the market hasn't kind of rewarded it yet. But so basically saying that the price is being manipulated. So because it should have already went up based on all that news and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's all bullshit, bro. Not selling till it's at least $100 XRP, then I'd sell 10%, if that. XLM, XTC, they're not even sleepers. Like, it's honestly like the big six. You throw in Algo, H-Bar, Quant. Those aren't even sleepers. And honestly, in my head, Jason Diombre was talking ratios in the comment on the last video, so he's on that shit. But in my head, like, that's not even diversifying, bro. If you're in that six, right? But if you also looked at all-time highs in past, everything is 6 to 9 times, right? Because they're all within the ratios of each other, right? And they're probably going to move together. But if one coin separates on ratio, it is XRP, no other fucking coin. XRP's been in this zone. To me, in my head, the only coin that's going to right now, XLM is 5.5 XLM per 1 XRP. That's a fucking good ass ratio to buy XLM here, right?
Oh yeah.
And then if XLM cruises in and pushes up to 4, if XLM goes 3 to 1, you just made 40% just by moving it back to XRP, right? Yeah. And that's how I trade, right? But I could buy XLM. I'd be like, it's a good time to buy XLM over XRP when it's over 5 to 1. But the only coin that could spread the gap from everyone else is XRP.
And this is what
stand on that. Stand on business.
And this is what David Shorts talking about arbitrage trading. And he said the more people that do exactly what you just said, trade in and out and try to get the better ratio, that's arbitrage trading. And it's gonna be happening with currencies too. And basically we get higher lows as this all go down. And then that's what he says about the liquidity pool, how the liquidity keeps filling up. There was a dope ass picture. Let me see if I can find it. That explained market cap and liquidity beautifully.
And Bitcoin and ETH aren't even deflationary like XRP.
Exactly.
Because the fee on their protocols goes to the miners.
Oh damn! I forgot to send. Hold on. Let me send. I forgot to send him the link. My bad.
But also, like, even nerdy, like you said this the other day, okay? Because to me, I just don't buy in none of the days of our lives bullshit. That's why I never believed Codius went away, right? So if you look, you know, the first move is Jed. Like in my head, nobody leaves Ripple, right? But when you mention, all right, buddy, love you. When you mention,
I gotta make a quick apology real quick. We were supposed to have Mr. Man on the show today, but I forgot to send him the link. Sorry, Mr. Man. Hopefully we hope you can work something out and get you on next week. But my bad. Go ahead.
You're fired. That's a write up.
That was my bad.
Nerdy's written up, man. But when you mention Codius, okay, so I mean, if they're building Codius, which is the state of the art, are they just gonna let Ethereum dude just happen to see the computer? You know what I'm saying? So it was all a ploy, you know. And then he rushes out on proof of work, right?
Just like the XLM XRP stake, kind of similar. I mean, the split.
Same thing, bro. And then the story just gets stupid, man. And then he hires Hodgkinson. And then Hodgkinson's like, oh, man, we should have did proof of stake. So he starts Cardano proof of stake, right? It's just, it's all a crock of shit. And it gets, I mean, even the Metallicus chain, and I learned this from Connector because I didn't know that part. That dude was hired by Jed to fucking help him build XLM. And then he wanted to do the 4-coin system, and he moves over and builds Metallicus. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm buying Metallicus, you know, because I'm invested in that too. But,
and you got the hidden dudes in the back.
Exactly.
Did you never hear about the Sluggers, the fucking Britos? Who the hell are those dudes?
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Right here. This is perfect. So you can have a big ass market cap with barely any liquidity. I believe I believe this is a Bitcoin beer. This is the Bitcoin beer where people are, it's like massive market cap, little liquidity, and that's why it's so goddamn volatile. And I think the DTC realizes that, and they acknowledge that, and they're like, nope, sorry, it's not liquid enough.
Also, how does Jed get away scot-free with the whole Mt. Gox, and then he gets scot-free away too with the XLM? He got thrown MoneyGram, no SEC or nothing. Like, what's going on with that? He can sell XRP whenever he wants. He dumped his whole holdings. He was a freaking part of the Mt. Gox crash, and nothing happened to him. He got out squeaky clean.
Right.
Felix Cepeda. I love XRP and Bitcoin. I don't know how you guys don't think there's enough liquidity. I do think there's enough. I'm not on the thing of Bitcoin's going away, but I'm on the ramp up thing. And I don't think none of them's going away. And that's why, you know. What's Ethereum? That's why Buterin just happens to see Codius and starts Ethereum, because it's just like Zuckerberg with Facebook. It's all days of our lives. But my point was when I made the Bitcoin comparison and ratios, my point is we're going on a ramp up, and they're gonna, they want our coins back, and they're gonna get them back in a green market. They've already played the red market as far as they possibly can for XRP.
Me personally, I believe that Ethereum and the coin are going away from my understanding. A lot of people have made it ETH layer 1, all the activity moved to ETH layer 2s. So currently Coinbase's base has a lot of activity compared to ETH's layer 1. I think a lot of companies are going to move with that. I believe a lot of people will a lot of institutions will probably use things that have nothing to do with crypto, but offer the services like Hyperledger or using Interledger or using shit like that. But Bitcoin itself, it might be around as something cool, but just like, X Jeeves isn't around,
Yeah, I think
AOL Instant Messenger isn't around, but it was a thing. It was cool.
But even Zerk goes back and forth. I don't think Bitcoin's going nowhere. I think Bitcoin is digital gold, right? But here's the thing. Bitcoin doesn't need to be fast, right? It doesn't even need to be fast. It's going to be crazy amounts of money in the future. The system will be set if it's 100 coins. The system will be set, but any coin after that will have to fix a problem that arises in the new system, right? That's the big picture I see. But when I was talking about the ramp up, once I say Bitcoin, my thing is if I had 100 Bitcoin, and I don't, right? But if I had 100 Bitcoin and I get 140,000 XRP right now, right? I'm pulling like at least some into that.
Yeah.
Because when they give you the $125,000 Bitcoin and XRP closes into $20, now, they closed a huge fucking gap. 125,000. That's my point. But
all right. What I was trying to get at is this. Scott's kind of on the same point where it's like Jetta has Clinton connections, and that's where I'm at, where Ripple has Fuger connections with all that, and that's all Vatican stuff. And then you have the connections with the Soros Foundation. Then you have connections with the Bill and Melinda Foundation, and then you have connections with the Clintons. Like, to me personally, Ripple is the company that's a chosen company that has been designed to do what it's meant to do. But when it comes to the coin or anything like that, even Trump said himself that he doesn't like anything that's a competitor to the dollar. So,
or Chinese coins,
or anything Chinese based, and that's all Tether. Tether itself is holding Bitcoin. Tether is holding Bitcoin and Tron as the reserves. So that's a ticking time bomb in itself. That's another FTX is waiting to happen.
I'm kind of in the middle of both of you guys because I kind of think that something has to change with Bitcoin, especially since they're pushing this carbon net zero and the green initiative. I don't think they're going to let Bitcoin keep eating up all this energy unless, one, they get rid of it, they move over to a different, I don't know if they can even move over from proof of work, but, or two, they tax it to use it. Also, you got the scalability questions. Can it really scale that high? What happens when it gets that high in transactions and all that? Then you got the question mark of who made it. They claim that they don't know who made it. Are they really going to hold all this Bitcoin when they claim they don't even know who made it? So, and another point, they could use Bitcoin as a catalyst to crash everything, and then they implement the utility side of it.
Use it as an example of what not to do.
Especially when they're trying to get everybody to hold it in their reserves, hold Bitcoin, and they're pushing it. Usually when they're doing that, they're not telling you there's something else going on in the background, and it's not that.
So that's
I agree.
I agree too. And to me, they're playing market caps with everything. Okay. So Kevin O'Leary talked mad shit about Bitcoin, right? Like when I first got in, like 18, 19, or 17, 18. And then a couple of years later, he's like, well, I would like to see a separation on, you know, where am I getting my Bitcoin? Is it from clean energy or regular dirty energy? I'm like, dude, he already knows the outcome, right? So the energy thing is how it's going to be like, they're going to shake up Bitcoin, right?
Mhm.
Because if they could get the Bitcoiners scared and go buy an XRP, that's what if they wait in an XRP, it's only 2,000 XRP or 1,000 XRP for one Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And they fucking scare them with tether or energy and laws, as you know, XRP could be $50, right? And then they extract those coins, just like BNB. Dude, I could have bought BNB when it's fucking $5.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna tell me China inflates up a $600 BNB and they're not buying the known coins and using their power times 1,200
Exactly.
or 600? You're gonna tell me they're not buying the known coins? And it's a big market cap play on everything.
I agree.
The whole thing.
I 100% agree. Even with the whole like Enron stuff and all those things, like even the housing collapse, all those things brought in new laws and all that stuff. So I believe, and there's another guy I was listening to, and he was saying how we are very reactive. We don't really implement new rules or new laws until something bad happens. So I believe I believe both of you guys are right to the point of, I think something's catalyst is going to happen with the corn, where it makes an example of something, and we implement, you know, some kind of regulation to secure people. But I also believe that there's going to be some kind of AI event that might counteract the Bitcoin event. Maybe let's just say Bitcoin happens and everything is cool, right? And then you have an AI event where the AI freaking hacks everyone's stuff, and now everyone's more worried about quantum proofing and how to secure this stuff. And then the banks come out and say, "Hey, we're your quantum proof safe," and all of a sudden everyone's just dumping using the banks again as their cold wallet, right? So that means like nothing really changes. It's just a new system that got implemented, but through chaos.
Felix Cepeda, man, I just want to make money. I don't care, random FUD that might or might. Oh, well, yeah, everything might or might not happen. But, you know, I preach ramp up. Show you $10, sell your bag. Motherfucker be at $1,500 within 1 year.
If you really want to make money and retire, I mean, a lot of girls are making OnlyFans and they're retired right now. I mean, you could sell your body if you really want to make money. But if you're like here for the long run, like we are, then cool, welcome in.
And next year's gonna get crazy, man. But interesting. Hey, man, we've ran the whole show today, 52 minutes.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, what the fuck?
Mr. Man, Mr. Man. Brother, my bad, bro. Man. Completely my bad, bro.
What's up with that? I'm like, they must
be
deep in the weeds, man.
My bad.
What's up, Mr. Man?
What you got?
How you doing, brother?
That's all good. How was the show?
It was good.
So we just been, yeah, it was good. Extra Bullish was good. He did a Jeopardy today. That was pretty cool.
Cool.
And we just been talking, you know, what do we think in the next 6 months in the space with XRP, and you know,
I would like to hear Mr. Mann's take on the corn. How do you feel about regulation, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and adoption and stable coins, and how everything will play out? What's your view?
Cool. That's a good question, man. I think that Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to do well this round because they are the mainstream. That's what the government's been pushing. They've taken a monopoly on it, and just that's all they know. At least in Canada, they made it so you can buy as much Bitcoin and Ethereum as you want. Anything else is like, nah, you can only get X amount per month, per year, and that's it, just capped at that point. So the government's been like propagandizing Bitcoin, Ethereum. And with that being said, we got commercials here now in Canada, like legit on TV. And I was visiting my mom a few months back. I saw a Kraken commercial, and they're like, you can get Bitcoin now on Kraken. And I'm like, mainstream knows what Kraken is now? I'm like, yo, we're here.
It's crazy, huh?
We're here.
Yeah.
So in terms of XRP, XLM, XDC, some of the other cryptocurrencies that we all know and love, I'm bullish on seeing enterprise assets going parabolic, whatever parabolic means to people. I'm not seeing much movement for XRP, XLM, XDC possibly, because it's trade finance. As this supply chain continues to break down, we're going to need something to build it up on the back end with new front end interfaces and connectivity and liquidity moving within the trade finance realm. Chainlink, I can see Chainlink beginning to gain some wider adoption there as Swift begins to go live 2025 in November. FedWire is going to be going ISO adoption in March. And then 2026, we have Basel 3 implementation, right? So at that point, like I'm looking to see some movement of potentially, depending on where RippleNet's at, what the ecosystem in terms of it being built out looks like, we could potentially see something at that point. So I have my gauges for the later parts of the year itself. But in the beginning part, like I have my bets on like enterprise. Like I got my H bars, I got my Sui's. Nice. I had Casper, but I mean I still hold on to it. I don't know where that's gonna go, but we'll see where that goes. Because private money always moves before public money. So I'm not seeing the DXs make their move immediately. I'm seeing like the adoption by enterprise first, and them using it within their ecosystem, and with stable coins now being a reality at that point. So that's what I'm seeing.
Hell yeah. What's up, Ellie? How you doing?
We got LET. Say what's up to Mr. Man.
G'day, Mr. Man. Yeah, we follow each other on X.
We certainly do. What's up, Ellie?
Good, Ellie, I thought you went ghost.
He's back.
I thought I'd come on the show just to say g'day, and then I'll leave, and you won't see me for another couple of months.
You're teasing us, man.
Nice to see you, Ellie.
Mr. Man.
Yeah, likewise.
I want to say Mr. Man just said something about the mainstream, right? So I sort of visioned it like, because what makes me not be like all in on Bitcoin is like every billionaire tells you to buy Bitcoin, right? Since when has every billionaire agreed? So things like that tell me, you know, it's a check for XRP for me, right? But then there's like the mainstream, and there's the crypto, and then there's the crypto mainstream when you said the Kraken comment, right? Because to me, they're keeping the crypto, the people that are in crypto but haven't done crazy research, they keep them distracted on the memes and the chasing the other shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's just weird, man.
All right, so Mr. Man, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So sorry, Mr. Man. Earlier, before you hopped in, bro, Buster, Baggy, and I we're speculating. Also for you too, Ellie, if you want to answer it. So we're just speculating about things that could go down, events that could play out. One of the things that we're talking about of maybe Bitcoin could be used as an example, as you know. There could be some kind of event that takes place where, you know, Bitcoin goes down. You said earlier that they're only offering Bitcoin and Ethereum. You read a lot of documents, and a lot of those documents they really focus on the volatility of Bitcoin and say how it's not a right investment to make. It's something you should stay away from. What is your speculative opinion of or view what you think would probably take place in a way of regulations or something coming about to do with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the future?
So I'm looking more like further out in terms of time frame for those that question specifically. Like Bitcoin is the gateway drug. Anybody who gets into crypto knows about Bitcoin, knows about Ethereum. The end. Like that's the end. Either you decide to continue going down that rabbit hole, or that's where you end and you're like, yeah, I got Bitcoin. I'm in crypto. And that's what they call crypto. But I mean, the goal right now is working on 2.5 billion people onboarding. And I don't see that as an easy process to take place. You know, like even trying to, I guess, meet new people and get new followers to follow your content is a continual ongoing thing. So they have strategies, whatever those strategies are. They also have ways of implementing and onboarding new people, which is what they're working on now. But I do foresee, and I'm being very cautious with my words, something later on in life. I don't know when it is, but I'm picturing sometime after the whole MCBDC, multi-currency CBDC comes in. And I hear people talking about the BRICS bridge and M-Bridge being a dead project. Come on, like they're not going to be spending billions of dollars on a project just to be like, all right, guys, that was a good dry run, and we're done. No. I'm sure that'll come up later on again. So as that comes up, and we have that currency now, or that intermediary, and when the term is finally introduced, because I am waiting for it. This is a bill introduced by Tom Emmer, HR 4451, the Security Clarities Act, that states that the security is different from the investment contract asset at that point. So that, to me, once we get that term brought in, then we will see some movement for XRP, is what I believe. And with that movement, then we can see some value being stripped away from Bitcoin, because there's going to be something else taking that value. And with Ethereum, you can see everything is beginning to merge and, I guess, connect to Ethereum through the EVM and side chains, and tapping into value and showing and proving that value on Ethereum isn't as liquid or cheap as it could be on some other platforms, essentially. So somewhere out in a distant time, I'm not sure when, could be 5, could be 10, could be 15 years from now, when we see that issue with Bitcoin. And also what's going to accelerate that is Tether. I don't get why people don't recognize this. Bitcoin is utilized within Tether as a reserve, I believe it is. And Tether, the G20 think tank states that Tether is not backed 1-to-1. It's 0.74 cents to $1. Their gold reserves aren't they're hit and miss as well. They haven't completed a single audit. They're not transparent. The CEO blatantly lies. Like,
100%.
It's nuts. 100%. And I mean, you post videos that state that you shouldn't necessarily trust the most popular crypto or most popular stablecoin, and people go with it because, like, oh, it's had time in the market. If you're choosing to be willfully neglectful, like, you deserve whatever that outcome is at that point.
Agreed. Also to note on that, when Tether was sued in New York, they found out that Tether's only had 74% backing on the reserves, and it wasn't 100%. So and that's why they could not no longer do business in New York because they weren't compliant. So that's a big thing. Go ahead, Ellie.
My take is regulations. Once regulations comes in, we have trillions waiting on the sideline to be moved onto the network.
Tell them, Ellie. That's
regulation,
folks.
That's exactly what it is. These larger entities can't make any moves until regulations come into play. They operate on contractual law, and they can't create contracts if there's no contracts to be created at that point. So they have to wait for regulation in this new format to be able to contractually move this value differently.
Exactly.
Shout out, Mr. Man. You need to hit the link more often, brother. Go ahead, Nerdy.
That goes back to the original point where we're talking about an event taking place where we are a very reactive nation. We're not a very proactive nation where we only implement regulation when something actually happens rather than trying to protect it from happening. 9/11 was a great example. 2007, even 2001 was a great example. There's so many examples, but when it comes to that, I have another question for you. You were talking about onboarding process now, and I'm pretty sure you've seen in Africa there's the project, the World Coin. They just changed the name to World. The World Coin onboarding process, and how they're doing is they're onboarding people via an iris. So people are scanning their eyes, and they're getting a string or some kind of identity, and that is tied to Ellie, and that is tied to their wallet. What do you think, and from your understanding, from what you know and from what you've learned, what do you think would probably be the most realistic onboarding process to onboard everyone? Do you think there would be some kind of event to onboard people to force, or do you think the bank would just offer their services and people won't even know, or do you think there would have to be some kind of registrar where you have to scan something or do something? What do you think?
So when it comes to onboarding, our biometrics are already like in the system itself. Like for me to tap into my phone, I already have biometrics on already. So Apple has my biometrics. They've already KYC'd me for this product. For me to get into my bank, I just use that exact same KYC. So we're onboarded, and most don't know, won't know, and probably will not know later on either, right? In terms of the world coin itself, that's a very interesting concept because as we go into this digital world now, we have to verify and prove that we're a human, like a human, or as they say, Sam Altman and the other individual, that we're a sovereign human. I have to prove I'm a sovereign human.
He should catch up. He did last time.
In this construct that they're creating here.
Mm-hmm.
When essentially, like as a sovereign human, you don't have to. If you can see the construct that you're in, then you can argue the fact that you're a sovereign human and not play within this construct here. But if they have to onboard you into something to prove you're a sovereign human, like it just doesn't make any sense to me, you know?
It doesn't. Yeah. That's right. How do you feel about the implementation? So where Ellie's at, and here in California and also everywhere else in the world, there's a mass rollout of digital identification and digital passports and all this stuff. How do you feel about this coming in and how it blends in to regulation and digital currency and a new system and all that? How do you think that works out?
It's very interesting because for this to roll out seamlessly, like there's gonna be a black swan, a huge effing black swan, man. And there's like so many things converging right now. Like we got war, talks of war, rumors of war. We got monkeypox, bird flu, COVID, anthrax, whatever else is out there. You know, there's tsunamis, hurricanes, everything. So out in Ukraine, you got asylum seekers being onboarded with MoneyGram and Stellar through the National Bank of Ukraine. You know, we got the asylum seekers there. We got happening out in Israel and Israel as well. U.S. is sending a buttload of money to help them with this process, to help them with the onboarding of people, and for the rest of us here in North America, like it's not going to be. It's unfortunate, but it's going to be shitty, like very, very shitty. So one of the things I've been doing is, you know, I'm protecting myself. I'm currently in Muay Thai. I'm currently in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have my firearms license, hunting license.
Nice.
You know, I own firearms. I'm fluent in bow and arrow. I have slingshots. Like I'm doing what I can to protect myself because you don't know where life leads as it gets very, very shitty, and who wants to do what and who means. You know, like people get desperate in desperate times. You know, desperate times call for desperate measures. What is that screwdriver?
Yeah, they got a screwdriver.
Funny, bro.
Desperate times call for desperate measures for people, and I don't want to get caught up in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when COVID dropped. Like, I was legit, myself, my wife, and like 5 other people were the only people in this small town where I'm at. We were the ones marching around this town saying, "No, we won't do this. Our body, our choice." Yada yada yada. There was a time at the post office. I went there. Let me tell you, as a black man, I never felt so black in my life. They were like, it was honestly a perfect setup. I knew they wouldn't let me in already, but one of my boys, a white guy, he went in before me without a mask on. 5 minutes later, I walked in immediately. They're like, "You have to go." I'm like, "What about Buddy over here?" I'm like, "No, it doesn't work like that." Immediately, they closed the place down. They got the gate, locked the gate, called the cops on me. Cops came, arrested me, and we were sitting there going back and forth with regulations. And I'm talking regulations, their regulations, and they're like, "That doesn't make sense." I'm like, "That's what a regulation." Anyways, when it came time to it, they're like, "Listen, man, before you come, you have to call ahead. You can only come Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you pick up your mail from the back."
Wow.
From the back. I was like, "What is this? What is this?" So like I recognized how people can be. So this time around, I'm not going to be so loud. I'm going to just fly under the radar and just kind of walk the perimeter and see what this side's doing and see what this side's doing and just walk my own path. That's it.
Yes.
You know what I'm thinking about the next Black Swan? It has to be with our connection to the internet. So cyber attack. We've already had the health. They have to turn us off because we're so reliant on the internet and the technology. They have to turn it off Friday and turn it back on Monday. And with that, that's where the digital ID is going to be brought in and the banking system.
100%.
Let me read this question by EFIT. This was earlier. so many people don't educate themselves about digital assets. They are distracted with sports, movies, and keeping their family going. Lots of distractions. Many also see this as too risky, and I think that's the evolution of like evolving and rising up consciously, right? We're taught to do this, like work your whole life just to retire and sit around. You know what I'm saying? But then once you obviously are more conscious, that's why I like the consciousness and vibration shit. You're more conscious, so as you rise up consciously, the fear dissolves, right? They think you're crazy.
Right. Correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Correct.
They think you're crazy because they didn't invest their own time and really learning it, because they're just sticking to the rules. Like we go to school 13 years if you don't go to college to learn how to stay in a straight line and raise your hand.
Yeah,
that's what we go to school to learn, and a bunch of
Uncle Buster,
history.
they think we're crazy, but since when did we think that sheep have a thought? We don't care what the sheep think about us.
Exactly. And a lot of my thoughts, that's why when I made the Bitcoin thing with the billionaires tell you, because I was a sheep, right? And I would follow, like, I remember 12 years ago, I was watching the dude with the stock show.
Oh, Jim Cramer,
bro. When I was a sheep, and then as you evolve, you're like, man, I used to watch this shit, right? But you just see your ascension. You know what I'm saying? TV will never tell you how to make any money, ever. And that's just what it comes down to, you know. But
I gotta ask quickly. Does my guy always wear this duck mask? Because that's hilarious, man.
That's baggy. XRP bags. Nina Blossom. $8 cash out.
Put the zerps in the bag.
Put the zerps in the bag.
Yeah. That's another thing I want. Mr. Man brought up another thing was people see the divide and how people get catered. One group gets catered to the other group, and I think people are tired of that too. I think a lot of that stuff has to do with a lot of liberal people just being ridiculous. And I think people are done with the whole liberal mindset of just being dystopian and just being stupid, and just people just want to live a normal life and just want to be treated nicely. And I think they realize that, and there's a big movement. The biggest thing to me was there was a Somalian guy, and Somalian is all of AOC's that little trio that they have. That's all their people. But the Somalian guy came out, I think it was in Minnesota. He came out and was like, no, they did us dirty. We all have to vote for Trump. Now that blew my mind. I didn't expect that one. So I think people are realizing, bro.
Also here in Australia, we've done the politicians have done a investigation on the pandemic, and they said 2 days ago on the news that people will not accept another lockdown. So they realize as well.
Correct. Ellie, over here, bro, they implemented, I'm in California, and they implemented mask mandates again over here. Absolutely nobody, not a single fucking soul.
And that to me just shows me what they're trying to do in terms of like who will follow still, right? It's just I guess a way to find out who's actively engaging in this engagement from the media itself still. Like I was at my mother's birthday when I was down in the Toronto last, and while I was there, I was chatting to one of my friends and her daughter and a few other people around us. And the younger generation is all about Kamala, is what I'm noticing here. And the reason they're saying that because they're, I guess, stating the same facts everybody says. You know, Trump's a bigot, Trump's this, Trump's X, Y, and Z that the media says, and they're growing up on that too, and they're not thinking freely. They're talking. I was telling them about, you know, how I'm living my life. I live my life not having to work because I own real estate, because I'm invested in crypto, because of this, that, and the other. And they're like, well, that doesn't affect me. That doesn't affect me. I'm like, well, it will if you decide you want to have investments and you have to pay capital on unrealized your gains on unrealized gains on your assets at that point. And at that point, I lost them. They're like, I don't even know what that means. I'm like, precisely because you're following a narrative. Following a narrative. Ultimately, from where I stand too, whether Kamala gets in or whether Trump gets in, I don't see the situation being desirable. Most
Yeah.
people are looking at Trump as if he's a savior, but ultimately what he wants as a businessman is lower rates. And as the
Yep.
rates begin or continue to slip down and get lower, that weakens the dollar as well. So
Mhm.
depending on where we go, like the economy still, like, it has to get shitty. We're in this point
Correct.
of the economy now where you have that, you're holding that spring and you pull it apart, and there's
Mhm.
so much division happening. You know, LGBTQ here,
Mhm.
we have mask here, COVID here, this, that, and the other over here. Eventually, when that
Mhm.
lets go and that spring just hits, what all that buildup of energy, something comes out of that. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And that's how we
100%.
propel to that new world. That's the paradigm
100%.
shift we're about to, like,
Just so we
smash
don't get
into.
cancelled. Just so that we don't
100%.
get cancelled. Shout out to LGBTQ community.
I don't support Ellie's statement. I don't support Ellie's statement.
Why are we waiting? It's like, no, nothing against women. Nothing against women. They ask a woman, why are you waiting for Kamala? Oh, because she's a woman. It's like,
yeah.
Mr.
I've
Man,
heard
what do you think?
I've heard the same thing in the black community. Why are you voting for Kamala? Because she's a black woman, and I'm like, really? That's
No,
the
she
leg
ain't.
she's standing on with you? Because she's
Yeah.
no, she's not even black.
She's not, bro.
black.
She's
not
South
even
Indian.
black. Yeah.
And that's where you see like the belief system, like liberalism is honestly a belief system, right?
Correct. Correct.
Like,
It's a mental disorder. to be honest.
liberalism and narcissism, it's the same playbook.
Yeah.
It's the same shit. And then the whole apparatus around even liberalism and how you could be silenced, it's the same thing. You talk shit on a politician and you have dirt on them, they're going to run a smear campaign on you, right? Go talk
Right.
shit on a narc. Go try to drop some facts on a narc, your local narc. They're going to run the biggest smear campaign. It's the same system, right? So it's all being broke up, like the Diddy stuff.
Yeah.
It's happening at lower levels. People are doing the Diddy stuff for $100.
Yeah.
Not 100 billion or 100 million or 1 million, right? It's the same system. But I
Yeah.
think it's all being shed apart, and the financial system's going to exist. Mr. Man, real quick though.
Right.
So if they do a shakeup, do you see crypto going on their little spec run? If they ever mess with like the system we know with the banking system, do you see one big shakeup at once, or do you see crypto sort of separating so desperate money doesn't come into crypto at the last minute?
Oh, before you answer that, I just want to correct people real quick. Kamala Harris is not Hindu at all. Kamala Harris is Jewish, and she's not Irish at all. She's Jewish. She's South Indian and Jewish, just so people know. Continue, go ahead.
My internet had frozen there for a second there, but to answer your question, I do see a shakeup. 2025 is going to be a good shakeup because this is when CBDCs are coming into reality, and I don't think it's going to be in a huge way. Stable coins we've been playing with that for a while, so that's now the thing, if you will. So when those become legitimized in terms of EU with Mika there, then the rest of the world will want to catch up as fast as they possibly can, right? China has it for a while, EU now has it, and once EU gets it, it's game on at that point, you know. US is already in there, so they can dominate and capitalize on that. And then once CBDCs come into like legitimate fruition at this point through regulation and internal policy, because the central banks have to be able to accept a CBDC internally first before that can even leave their ecosystem. So I'm picturing two shakeups. However that looks, you know, we have the 2025, something's coming, the US elections here, and then something is going to get tossed, like it's already been tossed out there, right? Whatever it is that's coming, or a bunch, a convergence of different things forming a black swan itself, there will be that as well. Like, there's going to be a reason for us to accept this CBDC. Like when
agreed,
when we were in lockdown, it was as simple as like I lost my job, and it was as simple as just logging into my bank account with my KYC, and they were like, you can just fill out this quick 2-minute form here in your bank account, and we can send you the government stipends already, you know, the UBI to help you sustain. And they knew how much at that point it was to acquire a new customer. In Canada, was $2,000 every 2 weeks they could pay you, which they didn't say you have to pay back, but then we found out in the back end we have to pay this back.
Correct.
once you start seeing, once you start seeing QR codes in your shopping centers when you're checking out, you know it's done.
It's a wrap. It's 100%, Ellie. You're 100% right.
What about that on the CBDC talk? Because Trump said that he's against CBDC. So if he gets in, what do you think is going to play out with that?
Okay, real talks with that one now. I don't business what Trump says or what anybody else says or any bill out there. There's that bill, the no CBDC bill. Ultimately, if you follow the architectures of these CBDCs, Project Orem put out by the BIS, HKMA, and another Asian company, it could be Thailand, I don't remember. But in that, it talks about the different architectures of CBDCs, and one of those being a CBDC-backed stablecoin, also known as a stablecoin. So you have, let me talk to you about this architecture here. So you have Circle. Circle has their stablecoin. That stablecoin has reserves in BlackRock and the Fed. So the fact that they have reserves in the Fed, it operates technically as a synthetic CBDC.
Correct.
So it's already out there.
Correct.
Right? And so now when the central bank, when the Fed wants to get involved with this, what they do now is they have their own funds in their reserve, but the Fed wraps that stable coin. So you have your CBDC backed stable coin, also known as a stable coin. So when this stable coin, CBDC, gets tossed out in the environment, and people are like, no CBDCs for us. We're only going to use these stable coins. You're already on a CBDC. It's just wordsmithing and how they want to choose to, whatever they want to call it.
Exactly.
That's right. If CBDC
100%.
goes away, that means central bank is no longer existent because it's in the name.
Exactly.
100%. So I'm gonna go back a little bit. So we talk about an event taking place or something to take place for some kind of catalyst to happen for everything to take place. Are you familiar with Cymex 24?
No. Knowledge, man.
Cymex 24 was a joint venture for the ECB and SWIFT, and it was about cyber attack, and they were saying they're basically testing the resilience of a cyber attack and if they can handle that. And it was a joint operation between ECB and SWIFT.
Is this just a document that you've read, or is there like actual video of this roundtable as well, man?
I'll bring it up
It's
for you.
constantly being tested. I mean, Australian banking apps go down every week. They're constantly testing the down of the system.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Same with Canadian banks accounts too. Like for the past couple days ago, from the 21st to the 22nd, our app was down.
Yeah.
So this is directly from the Bank of England. Bank of England, it says Cymex 24, a major market-wide simulation exercise to test the UK's financial sector's resilience on a major operational disruption. The Bank of England, in partnership with the UK finance and financial sectors and other financial UK financial authorities, H&M Treasuries and Financial Conduct Authority, has taken the latest UK market-wide exercise in Cymex 24. It's basically like a cyber attack, how they did. Wow. And there was another one, IXB. So the IXB, hold on, Swift. So Swift IXB was a joint. Europe. So EBA clearing, Swift, and the clearinghouse joined forces to speed up enhanced cross-border payments. So this is IXB initiative. IXB initiative had 11 banks, designed with 7 banks: Bank of America, BBA Groups, Citibank, HSBC, and all these, and JP Morgan and PNC. Now the interesting part about the banks that they list is these are also primary banks. They're not just regular institutional commercial banks. They're also primary banks, meaning that they also deal with back all the money that goes in the background. The question to you is, do you think, because you're very familiar with Gilbert, Gilbert is a genius. Gilbert had the TC307, Gilbert Verdian. You have the stuff with all the Ripple stuff, and you're very familiar with all the regulation. What do you think, knowing this information now, that there was a simulation and that people are testing? And again, I don't know if you're familiar with the Entity Data series. Entity Data released a simulation video of what the future would look like, and they also had a cyber attack event happen within that. So do you believe that that would probably be the catalyst?
I definitely believe it's one of the catalysts. I mean, you're talking about everything going offline. BIS had like tossed this out there, Project Polaris, and that's a big one where they're talking about being able to utilize offline. And then once this project came out, you see Russia talking about it, you see China talking about it, everyone's talking about this. And that's interesting there that the EBA and SWIFT had this connection there, because the EBA is the actual governing body for stablecoins out in Europe itself. And the overarching governing body itself is ESMA, the European Security Market Authorities. So it's interesting that they had this and they're testing this for market resiliency. But I mean, when you like logically think about it, it makes sense. Like I want to say, I'm sure there's a video out there. I just haven't found it yet. And after hearing this now, I'm gonna go hunt for that, because that's legit, man. I want to see what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
And just recently, the Treasury just came out with a report talking about stable coins, and then they highlighted Bitcoin and Ethereum and the volatility of them. Within that report, they did talk about stable coins. What's your belief of how Ripple, Stellar, the Treasury, regulations and all this stuff, what do you think the relationship is there, and how do you think that would take place?
It's difficult to call that one, really, man. Like that one's a good like foresight out in terms of what we have, at least what I have right now in terms of market outlook, and how Ripple's building out their ecosystem versus how Stellar's building theirs out. Stellar's been active with their treasury management already, so that's already set up. In terms of Ripple, they're still trying to build out Ripple custody with Matako and HSBC. So that's I don't recall, is that live already? But they're building that out right now currently, and they're doing that out obviously out in Europe first, clearly. So it's interesting that stablecoins are going live there. Meanwhile, Ripple is bringing out the RLUSD. So I'm just kind of hanging back and seeing what happens with that, because I can foresee in RippleNet, like they're gonna have the RL JPY, RLJ GBP, and the different stable coins, like corporate stable coins, if you will, that the world already operates on, because like it's going to have to exist within that system. Like the top 6 are going to have to exist. The IMF coins, if you will, as weird as that sounds. But in terms of the treasury, to answer your question, I don't have foresight on that, unfortunately.
Awesome. Earlier you brought up Enbridge and how you believe that Enbridge isn't going away, and they wouldn't spend that much money on a project just to trash it. There was a meeting with the IMF and the Atlantic Council, and they were saying how Enbridge was a direct threat to SWIFT and the SWIFT system in the current system. What is your outlook, and what do you think will probably take place with BRICS coming out with BRICS and how? And also one thing I want to be clear, that Augustus had a latest interview, and he said straight up that Enbridge had nothing to do with BRICS whatsoever. What do you think would take place with the BRICS, since BRICS is trying to challenge the dollar? Do you think they would, with BRICS pay system and all that's in their currency and all that? I remember they're saying it was 50-1. Do you think it would be an SDR type system, and how do you think that would play out?
It's interesting. I'm not sure if I want to call it an SDR, ESDR, but we are looking at a multi-currency bridge, and the MCBDC, multi-currency CBDC, operates within the Enbridge itself. So for Augustine Karsten to say that it has nothing to do with the BRICS, he's absolutely correct, because it's just infrastructure, non-jurisdictional, that the BRICS individuals happen to be using it first. So that being said, it's sort of the game that Ripple's playing too, what they're saying that they're going to stop utilizing these things now, we're going to shut it down, and people are like, oh, RippleNet's done, Enbridge is done. They're not spending money to just shut these things down frivolously. RippleNet is still alive, known as Ripple Payments now. They're just pivoting from where they were, taking this route to build the ecosystem out and then implement it. Like, why would you bring something into reality when there's nothing in that ecosystem yet for your customers to even use or want to use? So for Enbridge to be shut down now, that like logically that makes sense to me, because there's no such thing as an MCBDC out in the ecosystem out yet when they're still talking about this. So they can't really use it. There's still a lot of friction to be changing these stable coins between countries. But to go a Project Nexus route where you're connecting the faster payment systems, that makes more sense. Ultimately, it establishes more or digital multilateral agreements as opposed to the bilateral agreements, if that makes sense. The bilateral just means from me to you. Multilateral could be from myself, all three participants here in this chat right now at the same time, kind of thing. So I think that's a route that they're looking to take first. Just Enbridge was ready first. Now it can sit on the back shelf until they're ready to dust this off, and then let's do this. It's game time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so once the MCBDC comes in and there's a real definition on what an investment contract asset is, that's what I'm waiting for. Ripple to put that out themselves a year after Tom Emmer had put that out in terms of a bill.
Nice. Do you believe that the BRICS system and their whole BRICS pay and all that, do you believe that is just to avoid sanctions, and that's how the multipolar world is created, that no one actually has control over their sanctions no more? Because they would, even though you would have a BRICS system, that doesn't mean that they won't still do business with the rest of the world, because that's how they get their GDP, by exports. So they would still have to be interconnected into the SWIFT system or the IMF in some way or form, because if they don't, then they'll collapse. How do you think, in your perspective, that would work out in a way how the BRICS nations can avoid having troubles with sanctions and Nostra Vostros, but at the same time still do business with the rest of the world?
Well, it's unfortunate that a lot of the countries itself and jurisdictions in this globe capitalize or utilize the US dollar itself. Like Marshall Island is creating their own monetary authority, and they're using their currency known as the SOP, backed by Algorand, but there's also USD in that. Palau is coming out with their stable coins, USD within that. Africa's main currency itself is the Naira, but they prefer to utilize the USD. So even within these BRICS countries, like US dollar is still, I'm not going to say cash is king, but USD is still one of, if not the main currencies. And the BRICS still have a long way to go. Like there was the BRICS meeting that we're listening to anxiously and excitingly waiting to hear what they're going to say about this, the BRICS unit and their payment system. But ultimately still, we need to have, I say we as if I'm there, but there needs to be a monetary authority out there. Just like you have the World Bank and the IMF, you need that new development bank and that money partner, the partner to issue out the SDR, the MCBDC, whatever it's called at that point, because it's not going to be the bank. The bank is going to be there to establish economic stability, and then you have the money partner who divvies it all up, like how the IMF does. When COVID came around, the IMF was issuing out SDRs to countries for vaccinations who couldn't afford it. So the BRICS, or the east side of the world, needs their own authority as well. So I'm waiting for that.
You talk about regulations, and talk about how basically a new framework would have to be born in order for all this to really truly work out on a global scale, for everyone to be comfortable with whatever system they want to use. Because we're moving into this, my next question is, because we're moving into a new system that's also a digital world, that's also combining with the physical world, which is two worlds coming together. How do you feel about? Do you think that there would have to be a new introduction of regulation for the digital world landscape as well as the physical world, or financial regulation would have to do with both landscapes? Because you can go into your VR headset, buy something from Walmart, and have it ordered to you, but at the same time you would need to have some kind of FDIC, some kind of insurance trust or something in the digital landscape, just like you have in a physical landscape. How do you see that would work?
Real quick, I'm gonna let you let me interrupt. Mr. Man, brother, appreciate you coming on here. I got a special needs girl, so I gotta hook her up to a machine. So when I get off on Sundays, I just want to let everyone know that I'm not just getting off because I don't want to be here, but I'm gonna let Nerdy, Mr. Man, and Bags keep cooking. So I'll see you all Tuesday.
Hell yeah. Peace. Carry on, Mr. Man. How do you think that?
Can you just restate that question again? I gapped on.
you stated earlier about regulations coming in.
Mhm.
Do you believe that there'll be regulations for both a physical world and a digital world for both landscapes because if people are going to be interacting with the metaverse and ordering things through a company, like for example using Walmart and ordering things through Walmart in their VR headset, there would have to be some kind of financial insurance for both the company using the digital landscape and the consumer, and both on a physical landscape just like we have today. How do you think that would work out?
Oh man, I'm waiting for that to roll out. Like the metaverse is a real thing already, whether it's conceptualized or you can go. Actually, no, you can go into it already. There's banks, the BBVA that has virtual meetings there. Do I foresee or do I see regulations in there? There has to be. I mean, first off, we got a KYC so they know who you are. Whether you have an avatar dressed like me and you go in there, they need to know who you are in the real world still, because your avatar has to tie to who you are. It has to get to your place. You have to have verification of who you are to order these things, so you're not out there scamming people like we're all living through now. The GDPR that Europe is brought into fruition there in terms of data protection and safety for cross-border movements, like these things already exist already. So again, for these entities or individuals to operate within this metaverse or augmented reality as well, like the contracts have to be in place for them, for us to contractually live and sign without recognizing we're contractually living and signing them. So for instance, if I'm driving here in my real world and I get stopped and I get a ticket here, like that's my straw man taking the ticket within this construct here. So now as we go deeper down the rabbit hole into this metaverse, that's another legit straw man, the digital straw man taking it now. So this legal construct has to be set up for them, or else they have no authority of you within it. And in the world that we live in, I just don't foresee that not being a reality. You know what I'm saying? Like this isn't our world. I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut. That's it, man.
Exactly, 100%. There's a new phenomenon happening where Elon has introduced his Neuralink and how he's trying to basically give people with physical problems a new life. He's trying to basically give people a better life. As we move more into like a bio-cybernetic world, and all this stuff has to take place, it's pretty clear and it's really evident today that there's going to be some kind of dramatic event or some kind of event that's going to take place in order to initiate all of this stuff, because there is no other way for it to happen. There's a lot of talks about people some feel hopeful, some feel sad, some feel that it's dystopian, some feels that we're moving into a golden age. With all the things that you know from your perspective and all this information that you handled, what is your outlook of what kind of time and age we're going into?
So it's hard to come to an individual outside of my own frame of reference, because each individual person operates within this construct with their own like legit point of view. So what I see will be very different from what you see versus what Bag sees and Uncle Buster and the next person. But for myself, I actively choose to do the research I'm not going to say to know, but to have an understanding of what like black swans these people can toss out there. And I want to be ready to be able to navigate those waters, because I am actively working my ass off to stay on the high road, be able to stand up here and just look down here and say, okay, I see what's coming. I'm not down there. I'm not fighting that. I'm not fighting on anything on this side or that side or this or that. I'm just walking my high road at that point, and just being me, because like the minute you start picking a side, it's like you're following.
I agree.
Following the narrative.
I'll switch it a little bit from digital to physical. We see a mass influx of Eastern countries buying physical metals. We see China buying a whole bunch of gold. We see this New Year's or this Diwali, we saw a bunch of India bought a whole bunch of silver, which is really interesting. Is that they chose silver over gold. What is your outlook on the silver market with implementing all these technologies? They won't happen without raw materials and precious metals. What do you think the outlook of precious metals will be?
There's not enough supply of silver out there to sustain what they're trying to accomplish right now. And what's going to happen with silver will go long into the future. I don't want to determine what long is, but I'll just keep it open-ended with that. But I mean, everything runs on silver. We're here, you're able to view me. My webcam runs on silver, my computer's on silver, my microphone's on silver, this phone has silver, the street lights have it, vehicles, electric vehicles, it's in makeup, it's in, you know, everything. It's in like silver is in everything. And the fact that we're moving into a digital world, like I say it's in everything now. It's going to be in everything. You know what I'm saying? Like
I agree. I 100% agree. 100%.
There will not be enough silver for what they're trying to do. So eventually we will get to a point where there's like a serious short squeeze on silver, and I can see that affecting the price tremendously. Do I hold silver? Man, I love me some silver. Nowhere to rely. Like, I was talking to my financial advisor several years ago now, and I had my RSPs, registered retirement savings, with this individual, and I'm like, okay, I see some things happening. I'm like, what do you think of this company? And he's like, no, I wouldn't recommend doing that. I'm like, well, what do you think of crypto assets? And I sent him a few things. He's like, I would stay away from tech. It's too volatile. When I heard him say this, I was like, you have no idea what's going on. I need to cut you off quickly. I took my RSPs out from his custody, and I moved it into another custody service in Canada here. And yeah, I get people say you shouldn't have it in custody, but this is a portion I have in custody. My retirement savings is in secure custody at that point. I also have physical with me because, again, not your keys, not your crypto, not your physical in your hand, not your asset. You know, I'm banking on the fact that this retirement will be there in terms of silver within this custodial services, but we'll see where regulation leads. Ultimately, it's up in the air with that. But I see silver, and I see silver might get to a point where it supersedes gold itself, because gold will just be used as one of those commodities within like a payment system itself, right?
Correct. Whereas
silver's in everything. As Cat Williams would say, everything. Everything.
Everything. Exactly. That's all actually the questions I have today, man. That was a really good conversation. I can't really think of anything else because I think we covered everything.
Cool.
You know, one thing I do want to bring up. You brought up the thing about basically talking about the wealth gap. I was watching a Bloomberg report and how Gen Z has lost a lot of their value, and a lot of them are in debt. A lot of them don't even care about finance. They call it doom spending, where most of them are up to their neck and they don't really care. Because most of them are not financially literate and they do not care of their future. How do you think corporations will take that in order for them to survive, in order for them to keep their business going, and they're no longer relying on hiring new people because they know that they don't have the motivation to? What do you think the outlook would take on from there? What do you think that corporations would shift their structure of how they hire and fire people, if they even stop hiring and fire people altogether and just move to language models or whatever? How do you think that works out in the future?
Doom spending, man. That's a dangerous term, man. Doom spending. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that now in terms of doom spending and people not being financial illiterate. Like, when I was growing up, I was definitely financial illiterate until I finally opened my own business and grabbed my first house and started like buying as many houses as I could at that point. And I taught myself financial literacy. Like, when I was in school for aviation management, I was in a management course, and to teach myself business math, not teach myself, but to learn business math, you just kind of blow through all these things, and I'm barely getting by. Like, what the hell? I don't understand. How does this move? And what is this number? You know, so to even have a regular course of just financial literacy for your own personal budget, you know, I had to actively want to look at that. And now with all this division and separation in the economy, you know, divide and conquer, who cares about you know, your budget? That's what most people are saying. Who cares about the budget? I'm just trying to survive. So some people are going to want to take the reins and be like, let me figure this out. Other people are going to come online and just cry about what's going on because You know, I can't afford this, I can't afford rent, I can't afford bread, I can't afford this, but they're not doing anything to change the situation. They're coming out because misery loves company, but they're not looking for any solution itself. And if someone presents a solution, they don't want to hear it, or they may not want to hear it because it's not what they want or they think they need at that particular time in life. You know, like in my family at all, there's a lot of family members struggling. And I tell them that I'm making decent coinage with crypto assets. The minute you say crypto, blockchain,
it's out. Yep.
It's like conversation's done. It's like it just it's like I don't know if you actively are choosing not to hear the rest of the conversation because I said blockchain and crypto, but you missed the point where I said I'm making money, like cash flow, right? Like I'm not in the game of just buying and holding and setting and forgetting and crypto, digital dust on my assets. I do have a bag like that for sure. I think it's smart that everybody does, but in terms of sustainability, like you have to be able to tap into what we're learning here to be able to sustain yourself. Like the name of the game with any investment is cash flow. So if you're just buying and hodling, then you continuously have to get up, go to work, run that rat race itself. But if you can find a way within this ecosystem that's being built here from the ground up, from the bottom up with us, like why would you not want to tap into it? And then also with the term DeFi, as soon as you bring up DeFi, the negativity comes out automatically. Oh, well, there's a permanent loss, and oh, there's this, and oh, there's that. In any investment, you will have a negative side to it, a downside to it. It's just what you do next to mitigate your losses or potential losses is what's important. You know, so for the people that are struggling right now and embarking in doom spending, as you were saying,
it's
like,
crazy.
I would honestly recommend just pausing everything, taking a step back, and writing down what you're spending, writing down what you're earning to create yourself an income statement to see what's coming and going at that point. You can keep track. And now you can say, I'm spending too much money on, Tim Hortons every day. I gotta cut that back. I'm buying too much marijuana at the pot shop. Let me slow that down a bit. I'm doing this or I'm doing that, or maybe I could shift more up here because I like this one a lot, but I'll reduce this. So that way I'm not spending any less. It's just I'm shifting where the money goes. You can have a visual look at it. I myself, I'm a learner, so I love to see where money's going.
Nice.
What about yourself, man? What's your outlook on that here?
Okay, it's kind of okay. I'll give my answer, and it kind of goes into my next question. Is that I believe personally, there's been so many Amazon shows, and I believe that there's a lot of pre-programming that happens with a lot of TV shows and a lot of media that comes out. And there's been a lot of Amazon shows that has been cranking out a lot of futuristic type shows. One of the shows that they had was about how there's only 3 people working at a warehouse, and those 3 people were basically managing all the automation that was happening in the company. I think that based upon what's happening today in reality is that Amazon is doing that. Amazon is moving towards a hybrid robotic human a relationship synthesis, how they work together and in a workplace. And I think the future generation, and because companies know that they don't have the skills and they're going to need to acquire the skills, and they are very tech savvy in a sense, that giving them a virtual headset, for example, like a Microsoft HoloLens or something like that, and guiding them doing the task will probably be the most likely outcome. I don't think that robotics itself is fully developed in the way to take over a lot of jobs today. I think you still need manual labor. So I believe that there will be a hybrid thing where people's jobs are a lot easier because of technology, and they don't have to ask or rely on too many other people to ask questions because they're just surrounded with the information at all point in times. But at the same time, I do believe that we are moving towards a future that doesn't really rely on what kind of skills you have, more upon if you just want to work. That goes into my next question is, because the SDGs is such a big thing with corporations, and you know that for a fact because you've read all the documents. They keep mentioning SDGs, and they're so prominent on that. I was watching a Bloomberg report, and they were saying how because companies would probably most likely implement a lot of language models or servers to take over the task at the company, that requires a lot of energy to be used. So each company will be consuming a lot more energy because they're replacing things with computers, and also you need chips and everything to manage all of that stuff. How do you feel about carbon investing, and do you think that is the new market? Because I firmly believe that companies will most likely, if they want to implement this whole C40 city and all these things that they want to implement, that's a lot of stress on the power grid. Everyone that's using a 240 volt at the same time you're gonna have some brownouts. It's gonna cause some stress on the system. So I personally believe that companies will probably move towards a self-sustained energy model where the company itself, for example, I'm just going to use Microsoft as an example, or Google or YouTube as an example. I believe that Google itself would probably have their own SMRs. They would have their own reactor of some sort, or some kind of energy plant, and they themselves would produce energy and use it for their company. And then any kind of surplus energy, they would just put back in the grid, and they would just use that as a tax deduction. And they would use that energy tax deduction combined with their SDG carbon tax deduction, combine them together. And this would just makes corporations richer by giving them more tax deductions through this whatever fake thing that they're pushing.
Mm-hmm.
That goes back into my question that you said earlier about Trump, and how you said it doesn't really matter who wins, whether it's Kamala or Trump, because at the end of the day, they're both corporate positive. They're both for corporations.
Mm-hmm.
You live in Canada, so I want to know: have you seen, or how is the landscape in Canada of implementing the whole SDGs and this whole digital landscape and the whole moving towards conserving energy and all that stuff? Do you see anything from where you're at?
It's tyrannical out here. I remember a couple of years back, Trudeau had made an investment with Germany had made an investment in Canada, because Canada's been putting up those giant wind turbines now. Apparently those cause a lot of issues as well with sounds and vibrations and whatnot. But yeah, Germany had made an investment into that. Canada's working to offset their carbon, but just like US, Canada has a long uphill battle to go, because we're like Swift, upgrading old architect itself, whereas you got someone like Africa or Mexico that rarely had infrastructure. I mean, they had something, but it wasn't like to the level that we were at. So they're technically at ground zero going up. That being said, a lot of the US companies now, in terms of like Bitcoin mining, for them to survive, you will see migration happening in terms of companies themselves and where they outsource their powers to. Like Argentina's power, to pay for that for a kilowatt, I believe it was, versus US's, depending on what state you're on, you can get like 25 to 35 kilowatt. Was it? I don't remember what the charge was, but it was a lot lower in Argentina. So it's more desirable, for your bottom line to reduce your overhead. This makes more sense, especially with mining, when the Bitcoin payout has been cut in half now for the miners. So it just makes sense there's going to be a lot of companies going down, mergers happening at that point for miners. The small mom and pop, you and me, who are mining at home on your laptop, probably isn't even a thing anymore. You're not making enough. So you're going to see that migration happening there. In terms of the Canadian jurisdiction, beyond they are heavily investing in gold now.
Yes.
Which also contributes to the carbon footprint, because it's all old, heavy machinery, heavy equipment itself. But Canada's working to, I guess, offset their carbon footprint in this Ponzi scheme they've created for us here. I personally invest in carbon, assets, because it just logically makes sense. They're there. So whether I agree with it or not, I just learn about it, and I'm just gonna make money, because it's gonna happen with or without me. So I might as well learn about it so I can be a part of it.
Exactly. This brings back again back into the BRICS system. A lot of the BRICS nations, their GDP again depends on exports. If we're moving towards this global conflict between United States and China, and there's new industry of artificial intelligence coming out, but that requires a lot of resources, and it's also going to require a lot of power. How do you think the neighboring nations of the whole of BRICS and stuff, how would they react if everything this switched to United States and United States became the exporter and no longer was more of an importer but became more of an exporter, had tariffs, got rid of taxes, and became the AI and energy sector of the world? That would really shift the landscape with BRICS and everything else, and BRICS would just disappear at that point, and people would just move back to the dollar. What do you think the scenario is, and how that would work out if we're moving towards this SDG agenda, and United States, and we're having this election, and Trump wants to make America powerful again? Something to me isn't matching up. One will have to give out. What do you think your outlook on that is?
That's a good question, man, because I know the BRICS, I can't just say the BRICS nation, but I heard Russia, the Russian Federation, state that they're going to be switching over to hydrogen. And as we all are made to believe, like, hydrogen's this bad thing, Fukushima, Hiroshima, whatever, the bombs that happen, we're going to have to go through, it sounds shitty, but we're going to have to go through a scare like that for them to say, okay, you know what? We need to put regulations on this thing, on how this thing can be used, but this little thing itself can tremendous of energy, you know what I'm saying, for the amount of energy needed to harness it. It gives off a tremendous amount of energy itself to be able to power this new system. I read that a couple members of the BRICS, I don't recall who it was, but the CBDC itself, specifically CBDCs, will be powered from this power to offset their carbon footprint. So they're working towards this tremendously, and for the US to stay relevant, to do something like you're stating there, like they're gonna have to, make some money somehow, because everything's made in China. Like, when it comes to everything's made in China, right? There's no made in USA anymore. There's no Michigan steel metal companies. There's none of these things anymore. Let me not bias and say there's none of these things. There are some still, but it's not a big amount for the US itself. So they're gonna have to shift their business, because the US is a corporation, is a business, to sustain themselves still. So where that leads is anyone's guess, but I mean, the picture you painted makes logical sense, or can make logical sense rather.
There's a lot of China connections in Canada, and there's a lot of China connections in Mexico, where a lot of people are moving they're moving their manufacturing from China and bring it in China's, and they're actually bringing it into Mexico. If Trump comes in and he is really hard on China and all these things, how do you think that affects Canada and Mexico in relationship with the neighboring northern country, with the neighboring Northern Americas? How do you feel that's going to work out? Do you think Canada would change in some sort of sense, in some kind of way at all, or would they would still keep pushing their CCP agenda?
No, I think it will. Like, it's already begun to shift, because there is agreement between Canada, US, and Mexico. I don't remember what that's called. It's an interesting name. It's like the first letter of each country.
Canamex or something like that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it came in like only a few years ago, but they're looking to start trade amongst themselves, just amongst themselves first, and then expand from there. And if you notice, when T+1 came in, it was Canada, US, and Mexico to align together. So they definitely have some kind of, brethren type of deal going on there. How that looks in the end is again a toss up, but they're definitely making moves on the west side here. But it's not gonna be enough for them to keep this illusion of what's happening in the world going.
Yeah. Brazil has been the most active with BRICS. They've been having the biggest say of what's going on, because they really want to end dependence. How do you think that's going to work out? Because me personally, bro, to be honest with you, even though how beautiful this BRICS stuff sounds and all this stuff, I don't see them competing with the IMF, nor do I see them taking down the SWIFT at all whatsoever. And that's only because you have pounds, and then you have euros, pounds, and dollars, and then you have United States as, you know, the dollar with the sovereign debt, and everything is issued in United States debt, and everyone holds United States bonds, which is debt. So for me personally, I really don't see the BRICS system actually playing out at all whatsoever. Maybe they do it for sanction reasons, and they have a system within the system, and they trade and do something like that. But I really don't think that in a global standpoint, for nations to say, hey, we're going to choose sides and we no longer do business with you. I think that's ridiculous, because we see what happened with Europe, and how Europe said that they will no longer do business with Russia, but now Europe is buying oil from India that comes from Russia. So as much as these nations want to say that they don't want to depend on each other, they don't really have a choice. So that comes again is to like how global events are taking place today, but they're all coordinated in a sense where they're all related. They all have similarities of what's taking place, right? You have banking collapse in one nation, and then you have some kind of other event in some other nation. But at the end of the day, both nations' leaders come out and say, hey, we need to implement digital XYZ. So there is some kind of global agenda coming out here. My point is, what I'm trying to get at is, as much as people, like, you have the New Development Bank. The New Development Bank was supposed to be a counter to the IMF, where they help nations that are in need and try to help them with aid. How do you think that works out compared with when you have well, we'll go into the riddles. People like talking about riddles. This is an XRP show. Back in the day, they had the AAIB. You had the AAIB, which is the Asian bank, and that has a close relationship to HSBC, which has a close relationship to Medico, and so on and so forth. Do you see in some point, in some way, because the way I see it is, there's going to be one that rules it all. Do you believe that the XRP Ledger or RippleNet itself, because RippleNet is XRP Ledger and Interledger combined with their own services, do you believe that RippleNet themselves would probably most likely, or Ripple itself, the company itself, would probably be more geared to being the clearinghouse solution and the median for everyone to be happy?
I do want to say I can see Ripple acting as a clearinghouse, like as that intermediary itself. But just going back to I guess your earlier statements there about the BRICS not being the powerhouse that people believe they are. I think contrary to that, but I also don't think that, like, people think like the US dollar is going, like, it's not going anywhere. It's just taking a haircut, and it's switching from this dying fiat to a digital fiat essentially. And that being said, like I was saying earlier, the US dollar is in many jurisdictions. Even the Hong Kong dollar is pegged and tied to the US dollar itself. So China is connected to US dollar. You know, it's legit just a game of chess itself. So if the US decides they want to buy gold, it actually strengthens the BRICS nations' currencies they're creating there, because their currencies are backed by gold and the US is not. It's backed by the full faith and of the government and the banking itself. But in regards to the World Bank, the New Development Bank, the IMF, and the potential monetary authority that they don't have yet and potentially looking to set up, I think that this round of the G20 with the Brazil leading the charge there, I think we're going to see something interesting come out. And I believe that's in 2025. Brazil's ready to go with their Pix has been running already, their faster payment system, and Drex is going to be picking up steam. I can see later on how that plays out and what Brazil is looking to implement in terms of like what they're looking to implement can be a game changer. I don't know how or what that could be, but I mean, with each new candidacy stepping up or each new jurisdiction stepping up, like Russia has been on this onslaught of trying to figure out this currency now. I don't believe. Permit me for a bit here, since we're talking about like riddles and other things. I don't believe that these trials are taking place and beta testing is taking place. I've come to the sound conclusion that these things have been set up many years ago, and now they have a timeline to implement it, and they're just saying, oh, we're just beta testing this and we're just whatever. There's an agenda. The whole name of the game is the SDGs 2030 agenda. And I do believe that and again, it's just belief, that the BRICS nation will be something significant. To what level? I don't know. How long? I don't know. But I mean, for us to move into this new world and have this paradigm shift, U.S. isn't going to be what takes us there, because their dollar was pegged to the petro, and now it's not pegged to anything. It's just it's legit, just an airdrop. It's an air token, man.
Exactly.
So
you said earlier about the relationship between United States and China and how they might in the front be saying that they have conflict with each other, but behind the scenes they're best friends. There was a joint venture between the Federal Reserve of Boston, the Chinese Central Bank, and UC San Diego, a joint venture to create ENCNY for the digital wallets. Now, during that test, they were testing offline payments, and a lot of this is a lot of touchy subject for people, because a lot of people don't want to go on the subject. But me and you, we've both posted a lot of stuff about this, and I really want to cover this topic. Is the system that we're moving into, as digital it may be, what makes cash so beautiful is the fact that it's in your hand, and if the system goes down or the system stays up, you can still spend it. What do you think? We're going to go into a new world where we're combining digital and physical, but we don't have the physical element that the digital world needs, which is the dollar, which is a physical paper dollar. You saw recently of the UPI in India, how they had the UPI ATMs, how you're able to have a QR code, deposit money, but also use the QR code to withdraw money. How do you think in the future, or in the near future, how do you think this all works out?
It's a good question, man. Like, I remember when the e-Naira came out. The e-Naira was a joint venture with BitInc, Stellar, and a few other companies themselves to drop up the e-Naira. And the government, along with the central banks, I guess central banks dictating to the government what to do, they forced the hands of the African people to get rid of, attempt to get rid of their cash, to do, they had like 24 hours to eliminate their cash and to use this new system. And there was like a huge upheaval in Africa itself. So to get new people on who are predominantly cash based, like Africa, with US dollar, is not going to be an easy chore itself. But I mean, again, if we look at, predictive programming like Futurama, great show, right? Like, that's what we're moving into. People can be what they want, who they want. You can, address yourself as whatever, and I'm supposed to accept you for whatever you want to be. You can consider yourself the chair in the corner of my house there, and I gotta acknowledge you for that. So I lost my train of thought.
It's all good. I agree with you. 100%. Bro, this is a beautiful show. Thank you for hopping on.
Man, I feel blessed, man. I'm glad that you shot your link to me and I was able to come join you.
Hell yeah. Come join us more often. There's a lot more questions to be asked, but I think it was a solid hour. Cool. Yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you everybody for watching for this overtime hour. The first hour was Buster and Zerker and the Baggy Show and then the Nerdy Show, and then the second half was the Nerdy and Mr. Man Show. Thank you for watching. Yeah, any last words?
You know what? Yeah, I do have some last words. This was a solid conversation. I want to shill my Patreon, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
I do have a Patreon. It's all free, but when I say all, I mean all to a degree. You have able to access everything that I post within the Patreon group, and I share a lot of these things and even deeper knowledge in this group, even the free sections that I don't share on Twitter itself. But should you want to pay the $10 a month, and again, this just allows me to further deep dive into research itself. The $10 a month, what I do is I reach out to individual as well. We have a town hall every Friday at 7:30. And we have individuals. We had Jay Claver. I have Sean of the XDC coming. I have a banker coming. I have like a high level banker with insights to come and talk to us. I've had Ray Fuentes come and chat with us, and we have different strategies that we can now talk amongst ourselves from professionals in the industry themselves. So I want to offer nothing but value to individuals. I don't want you to feel like your $10 is going to waste. What I want is that when you go there, and permit my choice of words, but you feel like you've gone to church. You know what I'm saying? Like when I go for a run and I hit my stride and hit my zone and my mind shuts off for what my body's doing and I don't feel that fatigue anymore and my mind just goes out there and I'm just thinking of whatever it wants to think of. That's what I want. I want you to come into this Patreon, come into Town Hall, get your questions answered, or find solutions, learn some new things, meet the individual, shake hands with the people. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a good place to be.
Awesome. Everyone follow Mr. Man on YouTube. Mr. Man, if you want, or if you could, please drop all your links down in the chat for everyone to follow you. Thank you everybody for watching.
Let me get those to you because I'm not connected to the comment section.
Oh yeah, just send it, put it in the private chat right now, and I'll post it right now before we go out so people can have it.
Yeah.
I just added the Patreon in the chat.
All right, there you go. So the Patreon's in the chat. Meg, can you add Mr. Man's YouTube thing too? The handle's right there. All the information is in the chat. Thank you guys for watching. I don't know how to do the outro. Hold on. I figured this shit out. Because Buster's on this. Buster's does this shit all the time. I'm not a operator whatsoever. What video should we go out with? Let's see. All right. All right, right here. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a nice day. Peace.
To communicate it, I've gone out a lot to say, don't fuck this up. You know, buy and hold, don't use leverage, use cold storage, do the right thing, don't get too speculative, don't FOMO, just don't fuck this up. This is the biggest opportunity we've ever been given. I've said that all the way from 2020 onwards, and in fact, I said it all the way back in 2012. It's the biggest macro trade of all time. Don't fuck this up. And if you're not a crypto person, technology is one of the biggest opportunities we've ever been given, the exponential age. Again, don't fuck this up. Just be careful. Just buy, hold, have a long-term time horizon, and learn how to take pain. And when there is pain, you buy more. Unless something changes the thesis that suddenly we're all going to turn to Neanderthals and nobody's going to use technology ever again, it is going up. It's as simple as that. And unless something changes that we're not breaking the financial system and that the internet has disappeared, we will go to blockchain technology. It's as simple as that. That's all you need to know. Everything else is just fucking noise.